Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining me in this. Let's talk about a couple of things that may be impacting you right now and that is stopping you from landing the next promotion that you need to get. So let's dive into it. Number one, your technical competence is still very much in doubt. Now, if you've been getting feedback around, especially you've been getting the body language, or is even clearly said to you, or is written down that, look, we expect more from you. People are struggling with what you have delivered, the output of your work. There is still a lot of errors in it, and people are basically your bosses, your peers are basically struggling with the quality of your work, and they've let you know, or they're not saying it to you, but their body language is tilting towards, are you the right fit for the role? If you are there at that level, you're still at that level, then it means that if you're looking out to get promoted, it may be difficult, because right there where you are in that role, you need to be doing it all very well. So your technical competence, that is so fundamental and should never be in doubt. So if that is in doubt, it's so fundamental that if it is in doubt, that is what you need to concentrate on instead of thinking about getting promoted. That's something you need to up, because if you're not performing at level, it will even be harder for you to demonstrate that you're capable at the level you're thinking to get promoted into. Okay, so following up with that is the fact that you may be performing at level, right? So your technical competence at that level is not in doubt, but you have not started showing that you could pick things up at the next level. Because that's how businesses operate, right? You need to be able to show that if we then promote you to this next level, so you're an associate now, you want to become a VP, for instance. If we promote you to that level, would you be able to hit the ground running once you get into that role? So don't just think, oh, I'm performing well, nobody has an issue with my work, everything is fine. And then you think that, no, it's not always as simple as that. Performing at role, picking things up at the next role, such that once you're promoted, you hit the ground running. What I've seen happen in a lot of cases is people will wiggle their way through. They're performing at the level, but at the next level, they're nowhere there. So they're fighting for the promotion and all of that, emotional things here and there. They get that promotion that they are looking for, but by the time they get into that role, it just goes south. So you need to think about that quite heavily. There are some soft skills. So you're good, technically. You check out. But there are some soft skills that you need for the new role. You need for that promoted level that you don't have yet. Some can be leadership. So before you didn't lead anybody in the role you're currently staying on now. You're not leading anybody, but in the role you are aspiring to, you'll be required to lead teams. You need to begin to show that you can persuade people to act. You need to be able to show that you can persuade people to do what is required of them to do. So leadership, communication, empathy, some tiny little, so they look tiny, but they are such strong fundamental skills you need to have to be able to for you to be successful in the new role. So you need to sit back and think, what are the soft skills that I need for this next level? Do I have it? Am I able to convince somebody of my stance on an issue and they take it? Okay? Another reason why people struggle with promotion is they make a lot of mistakes, but they then make a very costly mistake in the year they are looking to get promoted. Now, in the year that you're looking to get promoted, right, it is imperative for you to be extremely careful. Facts, you need to be extremely careful. You need to ensure that every piece of work that has your name on it is done to a high quality. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do your work to a high quality on a normal day, but you need to go the extra mile in the cycle you're trying to look to get promoted, because it's very, very, very important. Okay, do not expose yourself to mistakes and error. That also means that if you're having to lead people, if people do work and give it to you, if you're having to lead people, let them know of your plans and let them know that it is important that they support you, and let them know that their work needs to be thorough. On a day-to-day basis, keep talking to them about quality and about how your work needs to be done to a good and decent standard. Okay? Now, another reason why I think you may be struggling to get promoted is the fact that you may be struggling with basic communication of the work that you have done. So, do you know how to communicate your work upwards and downwards? So now, upward, basically, especially if you're dealing with very, very busy executives, you may begin to think about telling them your conclusions first. Telling them why, which is basically the rationale. So you start with the conclusion. I think, I know this is where we should land. These are the reasons. Then you can then give them further details. Some people will start with the details. And if you're talking details to someone who is not in the work, you may lose them easily and they may lose interest in the whole conversation. But start from the conclusion. Some people are fine by just saying, this is my conclusion. Some leaders are fine because to them, based on their own experience, that's the conclusion they would have gotten to anyways. So they may end the conversation there. If you said, this is my conclusion, they'll be like, that's what I would have thought. So that sounds good to me. That sounds sensible to me. They're moving on because they've got a lot of other things to do and they trust you to, do the right thing, right? Some people will still want to hear why you think so. So that's where you get to the rationale level and then tell them, these are my thoughts. These are the things I've thought about before coming to the conclusion. Most leaders will stop there. Most leaders will stop at the rationale level. As long as you can convince them at that level, they'll probably stop there. Obviously, you have some leaders that are very detailed. They want to be in everything. That's where you come to the detailed information. Okay, so think about that when you're communicating every piece of your work and make sure you understand the people you're working with, how they like to be loaded with information and work towards that. Okay. Another reason why I think some people may struggle with being promoted is this: beyond their day-to-day work that they are paid for, there is no evidence that they support the wider vision of the organization. So all they do is they do just the work they're basically paid to do and they go. And that's fine. I mean, if you're paid to do the work, that's it. You remain enrolled, you get paid for that work, you go home, right? But if you want something extra, you want to be considered over and above others, that you are sort of looking for the same role, you then must think about the wider organization. If I want to become a leader in this place, what would I be interested in? And how can I support the wider organization? It is important that if you do not think of progressing, that's fine. You can stay in role. But if you really truly want to get into leadership, you must be interested in how the whole business sort of works together. You must be interested in that, and there must be evidence that you're doing one or two things to support the organization beyond just your day job. Okay. Another reason why you may be struggling to get promoted may be because you're comfortable with very small and tiny tasks. You enjoy those small tasks. You know how to do them. You could close your eyes and do them. But you shy away from large and complex projects. If there's any project that is large, complex, that is important, that the important people in your organizations and the top leaders in your organizations are interested in, you do not want to be part of that because you think it's going to take a lot of your time and energy. So you stick to those ones you're comfortable with. Usually, what is easy does not get attention because it is easy and nobody really cares about that. Where you see people being involved, important people, where you get the most visibility is if you're on top of complex projects that drive your visibility. It is very important. So don't stay in that silo place, just looking at, some small tasks, and then it's easy to stay there, but it's not going to help your long-term goal to get promoted. Okay? If you want to continue to progress, you must think about the development of your junior team members. You must think about their development. And this is quite tricky, because even if you're saying, oh, I want to get promoted. Now, if you move from that level and you do not train those that are working with you, who will take that role that you're moving out from? There are people that do not get promoted because there's nobody to take the role they're doing. Like, if they promote them into the next level, who then takes the role? Do we then we will incur, so the organization will incur the extra cost of you moving to a higher role. They will also incur another cost to bring in somebody new from outside to do the work. Meanwhile, you had every day people that are working with you that you needed to develop. You did not develop them. So you need to think actively about that. Teaching and coaching others to do the work you're doing. And let me tell you the fact, a lot of people have this traditional belief of, if I coach another person to do my work, they then take my work. Except you are lazy. If you coach someone to do your work and you delegate all your work to them, and then you do not do more strategic things in terms of channeling your own time and energy into more strategic things, then it means that you're not working. You just coach them to do your work, and you're not working. But if you coach them, you delegate the work to them, they're doing, and you focus on more strategic things, it's so easy. It's easier for you to develop value at a higher level, being considered for promotion, and someone else on your team being moved in the same in the same. You get promoted, they get promoted, and then you continue to build a team that progresses. Okay. Another reason why I think people may not be getting promoted or may not get the promotion they need is that they are still doing the work they should be delegating, which is similar to what I have just said. The work you should be delegating, that's the work you're doing. If you are going to be a leader, you must learn to give away, clear your desk. You must learn to clear your desk. Every day, clear your desk. What can be eliminated? What can be delegated? What can be retained? That's the first thing. Eliminate, delegate, retain. Within the retained tasks, what can I teach somebody else and they will still be able to do it? And as such, I will just come up, clean it up, whatever I need to do. You need to think about that as well. Okay? So think what can be delegated, what can be retained, what can be eliminated. And within what you have retained, still think what can I teach others to do the first draft of, such that you can clear your desk for more important things. Okay? Another reason why I think people do not get promoted is that they do not have a system in place for determining high priority issues. So you've got 15 issues, 10 issues, 5 issues. Of all these issues you have that you need to resolve, which has the highest priority, such that you can immediately get to it, resolve it, and then you can sort of resolve the others as well. So you don't have a system of determining that. There is a rule of thumb. Any issue that I think my boss is mostly interested in, or that my boss has raised, is number one priority. His priority is my priority. Rule of thumb. If I am unclear, then I ask. But that is my rule of thumb. So you can think about that as well. So instead of thinking one small issue somewhere that nobody cares about, instead of you doing that in the first part of your morning when you've got the most energy, why don't you think about those issues that give the highest value to you, to your career? So you must have a system of determining what is priority. Okay. Another reason why I think people do not get promoted when they should is that they are not known. They are not known. It is possible for you to be in an organization for years and you're still not known. Like, nobody knows you. You're in meetings. People don't even know, like, was she in that meeting? I can't remember. Nobody knows you. And there are simple, easy ways for you to get known. Speaking up. Speak up when you're in meetings. Volunteer. Work with people other than your immediate boss. If you have the opportunity to, ask to work on projects. Don't just stay in a place just doing the same thing here. When you go for remote meetings, for calls, when you get on calls, put on your camera. Yes, put on your camera. Let people put a face to it. You need to get known. Like, if you don't want to get promoted, you don't want to progress, that's fine. You can, do whatever you like. But the only reason why you're watching this video is because you probably are interested in getting progression. Put on your camera when you're calls, because they put a face to it, and then you talk, you ask questions, right? You ask questions. A couple of things is, you can clarify the agenda, you can clarify what someone has said, you can share your opinion, you can say a story about something that you have experienced yourself. You can agree with people, you can disagree with people, you can share an opinion, but just make sure you're talking. Okay? Make sure you're talking. Another reason why I think people may not be getting the promotion they need to get is because they are leaving their bosses in pitch darkness about their work. So they are not telling their boss about their progress. They are not leaving updates. They are not giving updates to their bosses. Their bosses have to be the ones saying what is going on, where are we, how. That is quite sad, because you must have a system of giving updates to your boss and say, by the way, I just thought to give you this update, I just thought to give you that update, this is where we are. Because every time you're not showing up in front of your boss to give him update, you're basically giving them anxiety, because they're anxious about, they're not sure where that piece of work is, so they don't really know. So all through the weekend they may be thinking about that work. Meanwhile, if you had dropped them a paragraph on Friday evening before everybody goes home, they say, by the way, I just thought to give you an update about where I got to with this project, this is where it is, where they will be more relaxed through the weekend. Okay, so has to be put on bigger projects is another one. Career enhancing projects has to be put on it. If you see that there is a project that you're currently on, it looks like nobody's interested in those bits and pieces, you must challenge it and say, look, I want to be on big projects as well. You must fight for it, you must challenge for it, and you must get it. You must ask to be put on those roles, because those are the roles that will give you the visibility that you need. Another reason why I think people may not be getting promoted is because they are not easy to work with. Are you easy to work with, or are people tiptoeing around you? Take everything so seriously. You make people feel uncomfortable. You create very awkward situations. You gossip around the office, and people don't know where they stand with you. You go reporting people, creating drama. You're not just easy to work with, and as such, people do not just want to put their coins on the table on your behalf because they don't know where they stand with you. So are you easy to work with, or you're the type that when one of your bosses approaches you, do you have some capacity? I've just got this tiny work, I need you to help me do. You are always saying no. Always. And I'm not saying I'm not saying say yes all of the time, but sometimes you should be able to say, oh, see, I've got A, B, C, and D, I can pick this up, but let me check with my other boss of priority and I'll pick this up. You must always leave room for compromise. Okay. Another thing that I think is important, but people may not be paying attention to, is this, and that may be stalling their promotion, is they don't know what they will be doing when they get to the next level that they are looking to get into. Like, they basically do not know what they will be doing when they get into that level. So if you don't know what you'll be doing when you get into that level, how then do you position yourself to get a promotion? So you need to understand, I am an analyst, I want to become an associate. What do associates do on a day-to-day basis? You can be with them in the office. You can be with an associate in the office, but you may not know what their day-to-day entails. You may just see them. You could ask them, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Really have those conversations. And even see, sometimes what they do, you may not even like it, to be honest. And then you're trying to progress into it. So don't progress blindly into roles that you maybe do not even like, or you don't want, or you basically may not enjoy. Okay, but you must know it so that you can position yourself to progress into it. Another reason why I think people may not be getting the progression they need is that they are not asking for on-the-go feedback. So it depends. I mean, there are some organizations that do promotions every year, every 6 months. It depends. So let's say every year, and you know you want to put yourself up for promotion next year, for instance, you should now start setting the tone. Have the first conversation and say, look, I'm trying to progress to become a VP next year. What do I need to do? So ask your bosses, ask the people around you supporting you, your sponsors. Have those conversations and say, I want to become a VP next year. What do I need to do? Oh, they will say, okay, you're currently doing this. Think about how you can delegate this, start picking up this, start doing this, start doing, show us you can do A, B, C, D, E. Then put in monthly check-ins with them to say, okay, last time we had a conversation, these were the things we discussed. In a month, I've done A, B, C, D, I've delegated this, I've done this, I've picked up this, I've picked up that, I've started doing this extra curricular activity, all of that. Month 2 check-in, month 3 check-in, month 4 check-in, and build it up that way so they can see a clear-cut pattern of growth for you that basically solidifies the fact that you're ready to pick up the next promotion. But you should keep having those conversations. On the go feedback, you should continue to have them. Okay. The last one I'm going to talk about is very important, and a lot of people do not think about it, and that is they are not getting the right people on board to support them. Some people don't even know who is going to give them a promotion. They know they have bosses. They don't know the decision maker. They don't know the person who is going to say, yes, they are ready. So you must know who that person is so that you can onboard them, so that you can get the support. And you must have the conversation with them to say, I want to get promoted. What do I need to do? If I know exactly what I need to do, then I'm going to do it. And then you check in with them and ask them. You must always clarify, do I still have your support? Do I still have your support? Do I still have your support? It's very, very important, right? So these are just a couple of tips and pointers as to the things you need to do, things you need to start thinking about as you plan for that next big promotion. It's definitely going to come your way. You just need to do the right things. You need to have the right conversations. You need to clear your desk. You need to be doing important things that will basically gear you towards the promotion that you're looking for. And I hope that this has really, really been helpful for you to see things in new light.